Good morning, friends. Good morning. Hopefully you haven't had a lull, if you've been pretty consistent up to this point and you've got some momentum behind you. Hopefully you didn't shut down for the holiday. That always happens a little bit when you take some time off, doesn't it? Your momentum gets dipping a little bit. Right? You experience that. If you experience that, that's probably because a lot of your efforts and your marketing is very effort driven. Am I right? It requires you to consistently post on Facebook or Instagram, or it requires you to consistently think of projects or pop-bys or door knocking projects. Is that the type of marketing that you're used to doing for your business? And if so, that's what creates that roller coaster, right? So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to answer a question today for Missy, a new member in this coaching group. Missy Selby asked, how do you run your Facebook ads and what IDX website do you use? Now, of course, I shared that I do use iHouse Web, but any of your tools should be able to produce the same results or similar, right? I happen to prefer iHouse Web because it's a one-stop shop for me, right? I've got my front-end website, I've got my back-end CRM, my website, it can create all of my landing pages that I use in my Facebook ads, okay? So it's all under one umbrella for me, and I just like it better that way, all right? If you don't have it under one umbrella, maybe you've got just a CRM, it doesn't have a website connected to it, so you're using two separate tools, just make sure that you're flowing your content smoothly, okay? So, that's a very important part of your funnel, right? If you didn't know that, right? The least amount of physical effort on your part is the goal, or at least it is for me. Okay, so let's kind of talk a little bit about Facebook ads. Now, anybody who knows me knows that Facebook ads is the very last thing that I want any agent creating, okay? That is the very last thing. Right? Because unless you've got all of these other elements in place, you're really just not getting the whole effect that Facebook ads can produce for you, okay? And I'm going to talk about some of these things, right? You want to have an attraction mechanism, okay? You want to have a lead capture mechanism, all right? You want to have a nurture mechanism, and you need to have an engagement mechanism, right? And you need to have a conversion mechanism, okay? So unless you've got all of these tools stacked and communicating with each other and performing all of these tasks for you, all right, Facebook ads are not going to produce what you truly need them to produce, all right? Now, when I talk about Facebook ads, let me clarify for you. I'm not talking about creating an ad just when you have a listing, okay? And I'm not talking about creating a Facebook ad just when you've got an open house, okay? I'm talking about creating a master marketing plan, and it's not that hard, okay? It's intricate. There's a lot of things that you want to make sure you've got connected, but it's really quite simple, okay? It really is quite simple, or at least I like to keep it simple, okay? And what happens when you don't keep something simple? What's happening is you're chasing that next shiny object. Okay? And if you'll just stay focused on the stack of tools that do the heavy lifting for you, that's when you're really going to start to see your business grow without a lot of physical effort on your part. Okay? So I hope I'm making a little bit of sense there. Okay? Yes, we're talking about Facebook ads. I mean, the mechanics of a Facebook ad don't change, all right? The mechanics of clicking the buttons and creating an ad, that's one aspect of it, right? But if your targeting message and your graphics don't speak to your avatar, especially if you're trying to create marketing that isn't around buy this house, you know what I mean? We're talking about creating some marketing that is going to brand you as, the resource in your community, okay? And it's going to be so subliminal, right? So subliminal that they'll hardly even know what's happening. I promise you. If you do it right, your marketing should not be offensive. It shouldn't be loud. It shouldn't be call me, call me, call me. None of that, okay? Your marketing can be so subliminal, and especially on Facebook, it's so easy when people are looking at their Facebook phones 11 times a day, all right? We're not talking about Zillow, where they got to physically go to an app or physically go to Zillow to look at properties. We're beating Zillow to its own game. If you can stay with me for a minute, you can beat Zillow at their own game with some targeted Facebook ads that drive that traffic to your website, your IDX website, okay? Because that's what Zillow is today. If you haven't heard, okay, I'm seeing a lot of agents that are concerned because all of their data is missing in their profiles, and of course, Zillow's claiming it's a glitch and it'll all be fixed, and that might be the case, but make no mistake, all right? Zillow is a brokerage now, okay? They are a brokerage just like you are, just like the agent next door to you, okay? They are a brokerage now, and they have an IDX site, all right? So, you don't have to worry about competing with Zillow, though, if all of your traffic is driven from Facebook, because Facebook has become so intricate in our daily lives, and Facebook is the place where our eyeballs are, like I said, 11 times a day, okay? They're not hanging out on Zillow like they hang out on Facebook, okay? So if you've got the right marketing that attracts the right audience, okay, that has the right lead capture mechanism in place, okay, nurture them, engage with them, create the relationship with them. Now, one thing you have to take in consideration is when you're listening to just, influencers and marketers, and you're trying to interpret the strategies that they're talking about, you have to understand that Facebook is a completely, not Facebook, I wanted to say real estate is a completely different animal as far as I'm concerned when it comes to marketing, because you have to catch that consumer at the right point with the right hook, with the right dream, and you have to convince them that they can buy a piece of property. If you're dealing with first-time home buyers, for example, every market's going to be different. Every message is going to be different. You've got to know who your avatar is and craft it around who is on your radar, okay? Who is your audience? You got to know that first and foremost before you start playing with Facebook ads, okay? Because you have to understand how you're going to communicate with your audience through Facebook ads. Is it going to be a video view ad? Is it going to be an engagement ad? Is it going to be a branding ad? Is it going to be a conversion ad? all right? I mean, all of the objectives, you've been there. If you've played around in your ad manager a little bit, if you've created a single ad, you understand you've got all of those ad objectives. Now, I'm not talking about clicking the boost button, okay? So if the extent of your marketing capability on Facebook is clicking that boost button, stop, okay? Just stop. Because you don't even understand what that button is doing for you, and that's why you're getting so frustrated with your Facebook marketing, because that's all you've been doing is clicking that boost button and letting your money go down the drain, okay? You don't have a strategy behind it. You don't have a mechanism in place to capture the leads. Just stop, okay? Just stop, all right? But seriously, get some help. Okay, get some help figuring out the back end and how all that works and how all of your pieces of the puzzle must connect. Okay, so if you don't understand that, that's the nut you got to figure out. Okay, and if you need help with that, that's what I do. All right, that's what I teach. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. I'm always here to help. But you know, when you're talking about Facebook ads and, you know, IDX links, know that, you know, all of that can, you know, when you think in terms of, you know, somebody mentioned this the other day. They asked me what I do. I drive traffic to my website for lead capture. It's not brain surgery. Okay? It's not brain surgery. It's a tried and true method. Yes, there are various different options that you can do to create ads with a myriad of objections, a myriad of retargeting, okay? You can go down a rabbit hole, right, with ad creation. Trust me, I love it. I love creating ads in Facebook, okay? And there is no one single ad. So don't stop looking for the magic golden egg ad that's just going to make you $1 million agent, okay? It's not about creating one single ad. It's about creating 365 days of advertising with Facebook, all right? That's what your marketing needs to entail if you want to get serious with Facebook marketing. It's a 365-day a year job. You know, I never turn my marketing off, ever, okay? If I turned my Facebook ads off, I would be out of business. I just, whoop, everything would just whoop, okay? That's why, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's vital that you protect your brand on Facebook. And you do not own any audience. I'm sure I don't have to tell anybody this, but you see the effects, right, that can occur if you don't own the real estate that your business is being built on. And I'm talking about your email list, okay? I'm talking about your email list. That's your nurture mechanism, all right? There you go. All right? You cannot depend on your social media site. Any of them, all right? In an instant, they can be taken from you, okay? What are you doing? What are you doing with a lead mechanism? What are you doing for a nurture mechanism, an engagement mechanism? All of these aspects need to be put into place for a master marketing plan, okay? So keep that in mind. Let me know if you have any questions.